Means of answering the basic economic questions. Economic systems have to answer three basic economic questions. These questions can be answered through the free market mechanism or the price mechanism versus or through government intervention. Relying on the free market approaches the three basic economic questions in the following way. First of all, the question of what to produce and how much is often guided by consumer demand. The question of how to produce is often guided by the principle of profit maximization and cost minimization. And the question of for whom to produce is often guided by willingness and ability to pay. So, this is how the free market attempts to answer the three basic economic questions. What about government intervention? Well, the question of what to produce and how much is often guided by government planning and command and control of the factors of production. The question of how to produce, again, is guided by government planning, and it's often aimed at maximizing employment. The question of for whom to produce is often guided by the principle of each according to their need. So, this is how the free market as well as government intervention offer different ways of answering or different means of answering the basic economic questions. Now, this gives rise to three types of economic systems. There are free market economies, there are planned economies, and there are mixed economies. Let's have a look at the free market economy. In a free market economy, there is private ownership of the factors of production. You see the profit motive and the forces of demand and supply incentivizing producers to produce the goods and services that are demanded by consumers. You see zero or minimum government intervention in the economy. The government exists, it just doesn't interfere in the economy. Some of the problems or the disadvantages of free market economy is it may lead to the concentration of wealth in the hands of a few, often the owners of the factors of production, especially the owners of capital and land. It may lead to an unsustainable use of resources and environmental devastation, and it often leads to preference for owners of capital and exploitation of the owners of labor. The working class or workers who only have their labor to sell in the labor market, they're often exploited. The complete opposite is the planned economy. In the planned economy, unlike the market economy, you see public or collective ownership of the factors of production. You see full government planning and command and control of all sectors of the economy. You see full government control and intervention in the economy. There are no free markets. This may lead to high levels of inefficiency and abuse of power and corruption, and often results in addition to many shortages as a result of poor planning. You see lots and lots of shortages as a result of poor government planning. Now, in reality, all economies are actually mixed economies. They are somewhere in the middle. In a mixed economy, you see a mixture of private and public ownership of the factors of production. You see a mixture of free market allocation in some industries or sectors, as well as government planning in other industries and sectors. All economies in reality are mixed, but they just differ in the types and degree of government intervention. So if you compare the United States to China, for example, the United States has more of a free market economy, while China has more of a planned economy, even though the Chinese economy is moving closer and closer to a free market economy. Say you compare China to North Korea. North Korea is much more of a planned economy than China. You see examples of free market allocation of resources in China that don't exist in North Korea. So think of it as a spectrum. All economies lie somewhere in the middle. They just differ on the degree of free market allocation or the degree of government intervention.